China's not as great a threat on rare earths as they want you to think. Hello, this is Robert Romano, Vice President of Public Policy with Americans for Limited Government. And today we're going to be talking about China and rare earth minerals and what sort of monopoly, if any, China actually has on the rare earth minerals and metals that are used in smartphones, computers, military weapons systems, and that sort of thing, high-tech goods. And obviously a lot of manufacturing takes place in China nowadays, and a lot of our high-tech goods do come from China, as does a lot of our rare earth minerals. Right now, you get about 100% dependent upon imports of rare earth minerals, and 80% of those come from China right now. It's not surprising. China has a lot of the world's production in rare earth minerals right now. But hey, guess what? In 2018, the United States started producing again. That's really good news. We produced about 15,000 tons of rare earth metal compounds. Right now, though, they're being exported. But that's only because the company just got started mining again, has to get their ore processing facilities. This is a piece from Eamon Barrett at Fortune.com, and he talks about MP Minerals at the Mountain Pass site in San Bernardino, California, where once the world's leading supplier of rare earths, today the mine simply ships unrefined ore to China for final processing. But they're back in operation, and according to Barrett, they plan to reopen the mothballed processing facilities at Mountain Pass next year so that the mine can extract rare earth metals at home. That's great news. We're processing ore again, and we're gonna, and we import a good number of rare earth minerals and metals, and obviously they're in all of the high-tech goods that we buy. But China is not the only game in town. Looking at the U.S. Geological Survey data here, Australia has been increasing production of their rare earths, and they have all of the same rare earth minerals that that China does. And Mountain Pass has a lot of those as well. A few things were missing out of Mountain Pass, according to this survey from the Australian, I guess, Geological Survey. Terbium and dysprosium doesn't seem to come out of the Mountain Pass facility there. But I think that a lot of it, even if you couldn't get it all from Mountain Pass, I think there are other options for the American people. And the economy to get their rare earths. China's not the only game in town, but we're still seeing hysterical headlines from the media. China rare earth threat. This is Drudge. Don't say we didn't warn you. Now, to be fair, China did say that in a People's Daily commentary headline, United States do not underestimate China's ability to strike back. Talks about the, quote, uncomfortable dependence on rare earths from China. We advise the U.S. to not underestimate the China's side's ability to safeguard its development and rights and interests. Don't say we didn't warn you. So I guess they're going to stop shipping rare earth minerals to us. If so, no problem. We can get it from somewhere else. It doesn't have to be from China. We can produce it ourselves. At the Mountain Pass facility in California. We don't need China to do rare earths. And what are they going to do? Stop shipping computers to us and smartphones? I guess we don't have to make those computers and smartphones in China either. And so, yeah, markets are resilient. And just like the Arab oil embargo in the 1970s, where all it's going to do, which, by the way, all it did was encourage other countries to drill for oil and increase global production, and prices came back down. So China could stop shipping rare earth metals. They tried the same thing in 2010. As Eamon Barrett pointed out, this was an example when China and Japan clashed over ownership of islands in the East China Sea. Beijing halted shipments of rare earths to its rival, disrupting supply lines for major manufacturers like Toyota and Panasonic. But Beijing emerged weaker for it. The blockade was enough to alert the rest of the world to China's unchecked power over the precious minerals. A coalition of countries led by the U.S. appealed to the WTO in 2014, and they ruled that China can't put limits on their rare earth exports. And now here we are about 10 years later, and now other countries like the United States and Australia are ramping up production of rare earth minerals, which frankly aren't that rare. And we have plenty here. We can get it from Australia as well. Brazil's starting to ramp up. They got a lot of reserves. Brazil, 22 million tons of reserves. Vietnam has about 22 million tons. Russia has about 12 million tons. India, 7 million tons. So there's plenty of places to go. We don't need China to do this. To make this stuff, frankly, at the factories, we can have factories here. We can get the rare earths here. This is not a big threat. This is why, hysteria and alarmism is never a good thing. It's going to give you bad information, and it's not going to tell you what you need to know. We're supposed to be conducting an analysis, so that's my analysis. We don't need rare earths from China. And it's a lot like their feckless demand to dump U.S. treasuries. I mean, does anyone even take this seriously? Yeah, bring it on. Dump all your $1.1 trillion of treasuries. You can see here in March they had about 1.120 trillion U.S. treasury bonds, but in the China-U.S. trade negotiations, when things have gone south a little, when the investors get nervous, do you know what they do? They buy treasury bonds. That's just the way it works. It's a safe haven asset. When there's a recession, interest rates will drop, and you'll see people, investors, and markets going into treasury bonds. And so, if China were to start dumping treasuries temporarily, interest rates might spike up, but it wouldn't be long lasting, because other investors would say, "Uh-oh, I need more treasury bonds." So other investors and central banks, frankly, would step in and be able to buy treasury bonds, and it wouldn't harm us. China supposedly has all this leverage, but we just convince ourselves that, oh, China has a rare earth monopoly, or, oh, China, they could dump all their treasury bonds, and then, we're going to have spiraling interest rates and a sovereign debt crisis. And it's like, no, we're not. We're going to be able to, markets are resilient, the US dollar is still the go-to asset. And oh, by the way, if China were to start dumping treasuries, it would probably cause the yuan to appreciate, which would eliminate their currency advantage that makes their exports cheaper. So by all means, dump the treasuries. Heck, maybe we should put an embargo on China from buying treasuries. Let's see how they like that. They want to do tit for tat. I'm not really concerned about the rare earth issue. I'm not concerned about China. If they're going to stop manufacturing high-tech goods in China, well, somebody else is going to do it. That's the way markets work. It's called the invisible hand. And so let me leave you with the ending here. While U.S. and Western media outlets breathlessly report China's party line, the reality is far less formidable. If China stops shipping our rare earth metals or using them in production, it won't be the end of the world. What do we care? U.S. and global markets are resilient and more than possess the capacity to respond to price shocks that might be seen via rare earth embargoes, halting computer production, or dumping treasuries. We underestimate our own strength, but frankly, I don't think President Donald Trump is losing any sleep over this empty threat from China. By all means, stop producing rare earths. Stop buying treasuries, stop producing high-tech goods, and I guarantee you somebody else will. You don't have to worry either. That's the commentary. This is Robert Romano, Vice President of Public Policy with Americans for Limited Government, dailytorch.com. Hit that subscribe button and have a great day.